So I made a few updates and added a few things, cleaned up a couple things. I think this is new, the add divider, add name divider, and all that really is for is that when you add a divider, you know, it won't have a name on there. And before, if I had a name here, it would automatically put that name in there and it might fail. So this way, even if you have the name of a channel in there, it won't matter. But I wanted to show you some of the additions I made for pose and for insert. So the first one we're going to look at is the thing called add time offset. So if I take this object and I key it, key it up here, and then we'll key it down here, right? So woohoo! Oh, let's at least move it this way. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. And then what I'm going to do is, I did add up in here delete static channels, which is kind of handy, so you can get rid of all the excess animation that you don't want. I'm going to do a duplicate special on this, but what I'm going to do is do duplicate, input graph. I'll do 10 of these. And what that's going to do is actually for each one of these, it's going to give them their own animation. So if I was to graph all of them with the node editor, there we go. Let's zoom in. Okay, so each cube has its own animation, right? And this is important because of what I'm going to show you next. But what I have added is this under pose. It's called add time offset. And what that's going to do, let's do like -1, I don't know. What that's going to do is just give a multiply, divide, well actually no, plus minus average. I grabbed the locator, grab the cube. Okay. All right, so I had double linear here coming from the time node that's going into those translates in my animation. And it's just going to offset them. So it's kind of a quick way you could actually go in here and just do those 4. I got 5, 6. Cool. So now I have all these guys. And actually what I'm going to do to make my life a little bit easier, I'm going to also use this other thing in here called range channels. And this is actually a live connection, or it's an auto update. So if I grab these guys and I put in like 10, it's actually going to do all of them right off the bat for whatever I have selected with the channels. So you do want to make sure that you have the right channel selected and stuff like that when you run it. Alternatively, you can go in here and let's say like 25, and then I select these and hit do it. Oh, I have nothing selected. There we go. I'll have to put a little thing in for that. Great. So now I have all of them offset a little bit. And I can still go in here and make a bigger offset if I want. So now it's really offsetting that animation. So you can see how that could be helpful. You can also offset in the opposite direction, so that's negative. So now I have negative and positive offsets on there. Don't know why I'm saying. Okay, cool. And if I put these bags back to 0, they're going to go back and have that original animation. The thing to note, though, is if I go in here to say this keyframe here, and I go, you know what, I don't like that key. I want it over there instead, or shall I do a Shift W on that. The other objects aren't going to get that update. I can, though, however, go in here and do a copy, select all these, and do a paste, I believe. And now they all get that new animation, and then I can go back to these guys and range them. Oops, gotta select that. I'll put a thing in for that. And now they are arranging that new animation. So it does update the animation that you have if you do new keys and all that sort of stuff as you work. The other one below it is randomize channels, which will actually just randomize the selected channels you have selected. But I just didn't see, and so I lost that. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to do, let's do a similar animation here. Whoops. Oh, cool. And again, I'm going to go in here and delete static channels. No, you don't have to. It's not going to really change things all that much. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate Special again. But this time, I'm going to put it on Duplicate Input Connections. And so the difference here is it's going to take all those connections going into this cube and just reconnect them to the other cubes that get created. So now I have 10 cubes here created, or 11. If I select them and do our graph in the node editor, what you'll find is you only have 2 animation channels or animation nodes going into all our cubes. So what's kind of cool about that is if we go here and we say, you know what, I don't like where this is. Sorry about that. I'll put it here instead and key that. I'm going to get that. Now you'll see that I have a translate Z now keyed. If I go back here and I take this one out and graph it, I have that Z, right? But if I take the others and graph them, they're not going to have that translate Z because I created that after I did the duplicates. Just something to be aware of. Granted, if you did want to update that, you can always use our multi-connect node, select the node you want, which is translate Z. I'm going to turn on show connectable outputs and find output and put that into translate Z and say connect. And now if I graph these guys, we see that they all have those connections. So there's a number of ways you can make those connections if you want. But we'll go back to the channel tools, and I'm going to do a similar thing to what we did with the add time offset, but instead I'm going to do insertFrameCache. And actually I'm going to jump ahead a little bit and do insertFrameCache single add. And so basically the difference between that is, if you're not familiar with a FrameCache node, that puts a node, actually let's do it. What's that? Translate X. Okay, cool. I'll go insert FrameCache node and we'll graph it. Okay, so here's our animation node, that same one as we did before. Here's an offset of a double linear that I add in there, and here's our FrameCache node. And what that's going to do is actually use the time coming into it to then look at this channel and decide where it is along there. So it's almost like being able to just go take an animation curve and just look anywhere on the time frame where you want to be and then output that. So if we go here and select, which one was it? Yeah, the second one, right? So we go here, we'll go to this frame. If I go to that add double linear, if I go in there and change it, it's a lot like changing the frame, sorry, it's a lot like doing the add time offset, but the difference is I still only have the same amount of animation channels, right? Just one of them, before I get to that P cube, is using that FrameCache node. So I'll still get the benefit of being able to update and stuff like that. Now, since I only did it to one channel on the translate X, you notice that my Y channel is the same, but it's my X channel that's getting delayed. All right, so let's undo that a couple times. Get back to where we were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost there. There we go. Yep, okay. So, and then the second thing I have here in the insert is insertFrameCache single add. So, before it would do it per channel. So if I select this P cube here and say insert single add, it's going to do a couple things for me. One is it's going to create a locator with that anim offset channel on it. And let's just graph this. So here's a locator, here's our cube, and this time we have 3 FrameCache nodes, one for each animation channel, but we have a single add double linear going to each one to offset all of them at the same time. So now we can go in here and say, you know, -3, I don't know, and now it's going to lag by 3 frames, right? So what I can do is to go down here and just, that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and again, I'm going to do that earlier trick of using the range channels, and let's see here, we'll just go like the middle, and we'll just, oh whoops, I have nothing selected, there we go. Why is it getting angry? Select all these, yeah, oh there we go, I don't know, I had done something strange I guess. So let's do like -10 and +10, or you know, let's just do back to 0, because then that first one will still remain the first one. Let's do something fun here. Grab all these guys, grab their scales, and do, let's see, 0.5 to 1. Oh, well, other way around. Let's do 1 to 0.2. Cool. Just using that range channel real quick. So I'll grab these again. There we go. And add them offset. And now you can see how we've got that offset. Now the cool thing is, because it's using the same animation, I can go back. I like to go back to my original object. You can go to any of them. But what I'm going to do is go to this part of the animation here. And let's say we want to just update it and bring it down there a little bit, right? But the first thing you notice is like, hey, oh, actually in this case it did work, but one of them didn't. So let's take a look at which one didn't work, the very last one. And sometimes what happens is it doesn't necessarily update the entire network. So what you can do is just go in here and select all this and type in DG dirty. And that just basically does a little kick in the butt of the dependency graph node so that you make sure you get everything. All right, so I'll be sure to put that up. I am going to go, the one thing I am probably going to also add is that when you do your add time offset, I am going to name it the name of the object, just like the locators are doing here. But look for that soon, probably within the next couple days, and I hope this is helpful.